Camila was only 24, yet her mind felt much older. She worked in a noisy coffee shop in the middle of the city, but the loudest noise was not from customers or machines. It came from inside her own head. Restless thoughts chased her day and night. Worries about money, regrets about yesterday, and fear of tomorrow filled her chest with heaviness. She often wondered, will I ever find peace of mind? Every shift felt the same. Orders kept coming, people kept rushing, and she kept moving on autopilot. But inside, she carried a storm. She longed for a quiet mind, but all she knew was how to keep running from one task to another. The city outside was chaotic, and her heart mirrored that chaos. She dreamed of something more, something calmer, but didn't know how to reach it. Camila tried everything people told her: journaling, music, late-night walks. Yet the thoughts never left. At night, she would lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying old mistakes and overthinking every choice she had ever made. Restless thoughts stole her sleep, and she often woke up more tired than when she went to bed. She wanted inner peace, but couldn't find the door. One afternoon, while she was serving coffee with tired eyes, she whispered to herself, "Maybe this is just my life. Noise outside, noise inside." She was close to giving up on change, but life has a strange way of bringing wisdom when you least expect it. And for Camila, that wisdom would not come from a book or a class. It would come from one simple cup of coffee. What started as an ordinary day in a crowded shop would soon become a transformation story she would never forget. The lesson was not about working harder or escaping the city. It was about how an empty mind can create unlimited power. And soon, Camila was about to find out. Camila lived in a small apartment just a few blocks away from the coffee shop. Every morning she rushed through the crowded streets, her headphones on, but her mind louder than any song. She carried her restless thoughts with her like a heavy backpack. Bills waiting to be paid, dreams left unfinished, and questions about her future never stopped haunting her. Even when she smiled at customers, inside she felt trapped. Her body was 24, but her spirit felt twice as old. She often compared herself to others on social media, wondering why everyone else seemed happy while she struggled to find even a moment of inner peace. The truth was, she didn't know how to stop overthinking long enough to breathe. The city only made it worse. Traffic, noise, deadlines, and the endless cycle of work kept her on edge. At night, she would try to relax, but her mind kept replaying the same mistakes and fears. She wanted to live in the present moment, but she was always stuck between a past she couldn't change and a future she couldn't control. She secretly wished for someone to show her a way out, not with complicated theories, but with something simple she could hold on to. She longed for peace of mind, for the kind of calm mind that could silence the storm. She prayed silently at times, hoping life would send her an answer. And that answer was closer than she thought. Because on a day like any other, when she felt her hope fading, wisdom walked right into the coffee shop. A simple request from an old man would open her eyes to a truth she had never seen before. Before we continue, if you're new here, take a second to subscribe. These motivational stories are created to help you find hope, peace, and strength in your own journey. It was a rainy afternoon when the door of the coffee shop opened and an older man walked in. He was a regular customer, quiet and kind, always reading a book while sipping his drink. But today, instead of heading straight to his usual corner, he paused to watch Camila. He noticed her tired eyes, the way her smile seemed forced, and the restless thoughts hiding behind her polite voice. As she handed him his order, the man spoke softly. You move so fast, but your eyes tell me your mind never rests." Camila froze for a second, surprised. No one had ever said it so directly. She laughed nervously, trying to cover the sting of truth. "That's just life in the city. You don't get a calm mind here. You just survive." The man smiled, not judging, only observing. "I used to believe that too. But peace of mind doesn't belong to the city or the countryside. It belongs to those who learn how to empty their mind of what doesn't matter." His words felt heavy, yet strangely hopeful. Camila had heard advice before, but something about his calm tone made her listen differently. For a moment, she wondered if he could see straight into her soul. She wanted to brush it off, but deep inside she longed for wisdom from someone who seemed to have found the very thing she craved: inner peace. Could he really understand what she was going through? She was too afraid to ask, but her silence said enough. The man placed his book on the counter and leaned closer. "I can show you something simple. Not a lecture, not a sermon. Just a small task that may change how you see your life. Will you try it?" His words carried both mystery and authority. Camila felt a pull inside, a spark of curiosity. And in that moment, her transformation story quietly began. Camilla stared at the cup of coffee as if it had suddenly become something sacred. The steam rose slowly, curling into the air like whispers she couldn't understand. Her hands hesitated before touching it. "Why me? Why now? This is ridiculous," she thought. But the man's eyes stayed fixed on her, calm yet commanding, as if he already knew she would accept. She reached out and held the cup, but her fingers trembled. The warmth seeped into her palms, grounding her, yet making her heart beat even faster. She whispered under her breath, "It's just coffee. Only coffee." But another voice inside argued, "What if this is more than that? What if this is the moment you finally stop overthinking and find peace of mind?" The city's noise leaked through the glass windows. Horns blaring, conversations colliding, footsteps pounding the sidewalks. Normally, this noise would have swallowed her whole, but today she could barely hear it. Her eyes locked on the cup in her hands, the dark liquid trembling with every step. Her thoughts tried to invade her focus. What if I spill? What will people think? What if I fail? But then she remembered the man's calm smile. She whispered to herself, "Empty your mind. Just walk. Nothing else matters." Each step became slower, steadier. For the first time in years, her restless thoughts began to fade one by one. A child laughed nearby, dogs barked in the distance, a bus screeched to a stop. But Camilla didn't turn her head, didn't let her mind wander. She realized something shocking. When she focused fully on this one task, she was living in the present moment. No past regrets, no anxious future. Just now, just the coffee, just her breath. By the time she reached the park gates, her chest felt lighter, as if a window had opened inside her. She looked at the cup, not a single drop spilled. For a second, she almost smiled. The storm in her head had gone quiet, replaced by an unexpected calm mind. She turned back toward the cafe, her steps slower but filled with a strange new confidence. The truth was beginning to dawn on her, but she didn't fully see it yet. That would come when she returned. Before we go on, if this part of Camilla's journey is touching your heart, take a moment to like this video. It tells YouTube that stories like this matter, and it helps more people just like you discover the peace they've been searching for. Camilla walked back into the cafe with the cup still steady in her hands. Her heart was calmer now, though she didn't fully understand why. The man looked at her, his eyes filled with quiet wisdom, and asked softly, "Did you notice the voices of the street vendors? Did you hear the children playing, the buses rushing past?" She shook her head slowly. "No, I didn't hear any of it. I only saw the coffee." The man's lips curved into a knowing smile. "Exactly. That cup was never just coffee. It was your mind. When it's too full, even the smallest movement makes it spill. But when you hold it with focus, with presence, the world cannot disturb you." Camilla blinked, her chest tightening. His words weren't just explanation, they were revelation. He leaned closer, lowering his voice as if speaking a secret not meant for everyone. "When you empty your mind of the noise, you unlock unlimited power. Power to live, to love, to breathe without fear. The city did not grow quieter. You did." For the first time, Camilla understood what it meant to stop overthinking. She had been searching outside, in books, in walks, in distractions, but the silence she longed for was always inside her. She realized she had just experienced inner peace, not in a retreat or a temple, but in the middle of the loudest street in her city. The man picked up his book again and said, almost in a whisper, "Peace of mind doesn't wait for a perfect place. It waits for a present heart. And now you know where to find it." His words hung in the air like a sacred truth, sinking into Camilla's soul, planting the seed of a transformation story that had only just begun. Camilla stood frozen, the man's words echoing in her chest like thunder. The world outside still roared with traffic and voices, but inside her, something had broken open. For the first time in years, she wasn't drowning in restless thoughts. She felt light, almost unshaken, as though she had stepped out of a storm into sunlight. She stared at the coffee in her hands, realizing it was no longer just a drink. It had become a mirror, showing her that the real battle was not with the noise outside, but with the noise inside her mind. A strange power surged through her veins, not the kind that makes you stronger on the outside, but the kind that gives you courage on the inside. In that moment, she saw flashes of her life, sleepless nights, moments of panic, endless cycles of overthinking. But instead of shame, she felt clarity. All those years she had searched for peace in different places, never knowing it was hidden beneath the clutter of her own thoughts. To empty your mind was not weakness, it was strength. The cafe around her faded, as if she stood in a spotlight, the old man's words still circling. "The city did not grow quieter, you did." Her breath slowed, her heart calmed, and she realized she could live in the present moment without fear of yesterday or tomorrow. That was the true beginning of her transformation story. Camilla finally whispered to herself, barely audible, "So this is what a quiet mind feels like. This is power." And though the world kept rushing outside, inside her, a new kind of silence was born. Not emptiness, but unlimited strength. The next morning, Camilla returned to the coffee shop as usual. The machines hissed, the customers lined up, and the city outside was just as restless. But something inside her had shifted. She no longer felt trapped in the noise. Each order, each movement became slower, steadier, as though she had finally learned to breathe. A customer snapped impatiently, tapping their foot while waiting. Normally, Camilla would have panicked, rushing to serve with shaky hands. But this time, she simply smiled, placed the cup carefully on the counter, and said, "Thank you for waiting." Her calm mind disarmed the irritation instantly, leaving the customers speechless. The other baristas noticed too. "You seem different today," one of them whispered. Camilla only shrugged with a gentle smile. She didn't explain, because how could she? It wasn't a trick or a new habit. It was a quiet strength born from learning how to empty her mind of everything unnecessary. She was no longer at war with herself. In those simple, ordinary moments, she discovered the real power of inner peace. It wasn't about escaping the city or running away from her problems. It was about facing the same chaos with a different heart. She lived in the present moment, pouring coffee as if it was a sacred act, each small task reminding her she was no longer a prisoner of overthinking. And though no one else knew about the old man's strange lesson, they could feel something had changed. Camilla radiated a peace of mind that spread like warmth, like a quiet flame in the middle of winter. Her transformation story wasn't loud, but it was undeniable. Months passed, and the rhythm of Camilla's life slowly changed. She was still the same young woman, working in the same cafe, walking through the same city streets, but inside, she was completely different. Her mind was no longer her enemy. She had learned to stop overthinking and live in the present moment, and that shift opened doors she never imagined. She began waking up earlier, not rushing, but taking a few quiet minutes just to breathe before the day began. Friends noticed her new energy, the way she listened without distraction, the way her calm mind created peace even in conversations. People who once overlooked her started seeking her out for comfort because she radiated something rare, true inner peace. Opportunities followed her change. Her manager noticed the difference in her work, and within a year, she was promoted to supervisor. She didn't see it as luck, she saw it as the fruit of her new focus. By emptying her mind of fear, she had created unlimited power, power to handle pressure, to lead, to inspire. What once felt impossible now became natural. One evening, as she closed the cafe, she thought back to that strange day with the old man. She realized his wisdom had not only given her peace of mind, it had transformed her entire story. The storm inside her had become a quiet strength that carried her forward, step by step, into a better future. And standing there, with the city lights glowing around her, Camilla smiled softly. Life was still noisy, challenges still came, but she was no longer afraid. She had discovered the truth. The greatest power doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from an empty mind, steady in the present, and unshakable from within. Camilla's story began with a restless mind in a noisy city, and it ended with something far greater than she ever expected: freedom on the inside. She had learned the secret the old man had tried to show her, that peace is not found in escaping life, but in meeting life with an empty mind and the steady heart. That is where unlimited power is born. Her transformation story reminds us all that the world will never stop being loud, and troubles will never fully disappear. But when you quiet the storm within, you discover strength that no chaos can steal. That strength becomes your anchor, your shield, your guide, allowing you to live in the present moment without fear of the past or anxiety about the future. If Camilla could do it in the middle of a busy cafe, surrounded by endless noise, then so can you. Inner peace is not far away. It is closer than you think, waiting inside you, right now, in this very breath. Sometimes it only takes one lesson, one moment of clarity, to rewrite your story. So, take this as your sign. Empty your mind, let go of what doesn't serve you, and choose peace. Because in that peace, you will find a power stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than anything that has ever held you back. This is not just Camilla's journey. It can be yours too. And before you leave, don't just watch and forget. Subscribe now, so you never miss a story that could change your perspective, your choices, even your life. And if this touched your heart, hit the like button and share it. Someone out there is waiting for this message. Be the one who brings them hope.